Every morning, before the sun has fully claimed the sky, we are given a quiet moment that belongs only to us. A moment untouched by worry, unshaken by expectation, unbroken by yesterday's heaviness. In that fragile sliver of time, we hold the power to shape our spirit, to choose our thoughts, and to build a mind strong enough to rise above whatever the world may place before us. For it is not the day that defines us, it is the way we prepare our mind to meet it. And when we begin our mornings with intention, with courage, with a whisper of gratitude to the universe, we do more than wake up. We become ready to live. Every morning is an unopened gift. Your mind decides what it becomes. When we rise, the world has not yet laid its hands on us, and our thoughts are still soft enough to shape. In that early hour, we are sculptors, deciding which ideas will guide our steps and which fears we will leave behind. Too often, we rush into the day carrying the weight of yesterday, forgetting that dawn is a chance to start again. But if we pause, breathe, and honor that new beginning, we give ourselves the grace to walk forward with clarity instead of confusion, with strength instead of scattered worry. Each morning invites us to build the kind of mind that can withstand storms without trembling, a mind that refuses to bend to doubt or break under the whisper of insecurity. This strength is not loud or boastful. It grows quietly, like the first light of sunrise. When we wake with purpose and choose what thoughts we will allow to enter, we become the keepers of our own peace. It begins with a single decision to protect the first moments of the day from negativity and to fill them instead with words that lift rather than limit. If you speak to yourself with honor at dawn, you will walk with dignity through the darkest hours. What you feed your mind in the morning becomes the path you walk for the rest of the day. If you offer it gratitude, your heart will open. If you offer it doubt, your courage will shrink. If you offer it patience, your spirit will soften into wisdom. The mind is always listening, always learning, always building itself from the materials you give it. And every morning, you are the one who chooses those materials. You are the architect of your thoughts, the guardian of your focus, the builder of your inner fortress. There may be days when you wake feeling tired, unsure, or overwhelmed. That is human. But even on those mornings, the gift is still there, waiting for you to unwrap it. Even on those mornings, the mind can be rebuilt, repaired, and renewed. Whisper to yourself that you are capable. Tell yourself that you have survived every hard moment that tried to break you. Remind yourself that strength is not the absence of struggle. It is the choice to keep building even when you feel unsure of the foundation. And with every word of kindness you offer yourself, your mind grows steadier, stronger, more prepared to rise. The world may challenge you, but the morning is yours. Claim it, shape it, fill it with thoughts that make you stand a little taller and breathe a little deeper. Build a mind that believes in possibility, even when the road ahead looks uncertain. Build a mind that honors your journey, your battles, your victories. Build a mind that refuses to be defeated before the day has even begun. Because when you start your morning by strengthening your mind, the world cannot help but feel the power of your presence. You do not simply enter the day, you rise into it. Strength begins in silence before the world makes its noise. In those first quiet moments of the morning, before voices call your name and responsibilities pull at your hands, you meet the truest version of yourself. It is in that stillness that your strength is born. Not in the loud victories or the celebrated achievements, but in the soft spaces where you sit with your own thoughts and choose who you will be today. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers waiting to be heard, truths waiting to be acknowledged, and courage waiting to be awakened. When you honor that silence, you give yourself a chance to grow without interference, to reflect without pressure, and to rise without fear. Too many people hurry past this silence, rushing into the day as if their worth depends on how quickly they begin moving. But movement without intention leads only to exhaustion. When you pause in the morning, even for a moment, the world slows with you. Your breath steadies, your mind clears, and you begin to sense the quiet strength that has always lived within you. This strength doesn't demand applause. It doesn't shout or boast. It simply stands, steady and rooted, ready to carry you through whatever the day has prepared. When you learn to trust that silent strength, you stop searching for validation in noise that was never meant to define you. The world can be loud with doubts, expectations, and comparisons. Before long, that noise can drain your confidence if you let it enter your mind unguarded. But mornings offer a sanctuary, a place where the world has not yet spoken and your spirit remains untouched. In that peaceful space, you choose the tone of your day. You choose whether you will be shaken by noise or guided by purpose. You choose whether the world's voice will overpower your own or whether your inner strength will speak first. When you build your mind in silence, you build a shield that noise cannot easily break. This is why the quiet moments matter. They allow you to hear your own wisdom above the chaos. They help you recognize your worth without waiting for someone else to confirm it. They teach you that strength is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is a quiet promise you make to yourself to keep going, to keep believing, to keep rising. And each morning, that promise grows stronger, shaping you into someone who no longer crumbles under pressure, but stands taller because of it. So take that moment of silence. Let it hold you. Let it remind you that before the world asks anything of you, you have already given yourself something priceless: clarity, courage, and calm. In that gentle stillness, you are building the kind of strength that doesn't fade when life becomes loud. You are preparing your mind to move through the day with dignity, resilience, and grace. And when you step forward from that silence, the world will feel your strength long before it hears your voice. The way you speak to yourself at dawn shapes the way you walk through the day. Before the world has a chance to tell you who you should be, you are given the sacred opportunity to tell yourself who you truly are. Those first words you whisper into your own spirit carry a weight far greater than the noise that comes later. If you begin your morning by doubting your worth, you will carry that doubt in your shoulders, in your breath, in the way you look at the world. But if you begin with the gentle courage to affirm your strength, your mind will rise with you, steady and willing. Morning self-talk is not a small act. It is the quiet architecture of your confidence. Many people underestimate the power of their own voice. They speak to themselves with criticism, with impatience, with disappointment left over from yesterday's mistakes. Yet they wonder why the day feels heavy before it has even begun. The truth is simple but profound. You cannot walk with confidence if you begin your morning by tearing down your own foundation. Words shape energy, and energy shapes direction. When you greet yourself with kindness at dawn, you create a path that invites courage to follow. When you choose compassion over self-judgment, you build a heart open enough to endure challenge and steady enough to embrace opportunity. Your morning words become your quiet companions. They walk beside you when challenges whisper that you are not enough. They steady your breath when fear knocks at the door of your resolve. They remind you that you are more than the obstacles in front of you and far stronger than the doubts within you. Even a single sentence of encouragement can shift the way you see yourself. It can lift your chin, straighten your posture, and soften the weight you carry. Tell yourself you are capable, and your actions will begin to reflect it. Tell yourself you deserve peace, and your spirit will start to seek it. There will be mornings when you wake up feeling uncertain, mornings when the mirror does not reflect the strength you wish to see. On those days, your words matter even more. Speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you love. Gently, truthfully, respectfully. Remind yourself that growth is not a straight line and that strength does not always roar. Some days, strength is the quiet choice not to give up on yourself. Some days, it is the soft declaration that you will try again. And each time you speak to yourself with intention, you plant seeds that will grow throughout the day. When you choose uplifting words in the early morning light, you create a rhythm your entire day can follow. You walk differently, you listen differently, you breathe differently. The world does not feel as heavy because you have already built a foundation strong enough to carry you. Your voice becomes a guiding light, reminding you that you are worthy of compassion, deserving of growth, and capable of rising above whatever waits ahead. And as you step into the day, your mind walks with confidence, not because the world has praised you, but because you have spoken life into yourself before the world even opened its eyes. Feed your mind with courage before fear finds a way to sit at your table. Every morning, long before the world offers you its doubts, you have the chance to strengthen your spirit with thoughts that lift you higher than worry can reach. Courage is not something that arrives fully formed. It is something you prepare, something you choose, something you plant within yourself before the day begins. When you wake and offer your mind a steady diet of bravery, gentle, honest, nurturing bravery, you leave very little room for fear to settle in. Fear arrives quietly, slipping into the empty spaces you leave unguarded. But courage, when invited early, stands like a gatekeeper, reminding you that you are not meant to live small. Morning courage is not loud. It does not demand attention. It grows in the quiet moments when you remind yourself that you have walked through darkness before and still found your way back to the light. It grows in the simple acknowledgement that you are here, still rising, still learning, still trying. Fear thrives on the belief that you are powerless, but courage grows from the recognition that you have always carried strength within you. When you feed your mind with that truth, fear loses its appetite. It cannot feast on a spirit that refuses to believe it is weak. There will be days when fear knocks early, dressed as doubt, disguised as hesitation, whispering stories meant to keep you from stepping forward. It will try to convince you that you are unprepared, unworthy, or unable. But if you begin your morning by filling your mind with reminders of your resilience, fear finds no place to rest. Tell yourself that you have survived storms that were meant to break you. Tell yourself that courage has carried you farther than fear ever could. Tell yourself that your future is not determined by the shadows of your past, but by the strength you choose to build today. And repeat these truths until they no longer feel like wishes, but like bones. Strong, solid, unshakable. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward even when fear's voice trembles in your ear. Every morning, you have the chance to choose that decision again. You can choose to step into your day with a brave heart instead of an anxious one. You can choose to face what scares you with the quiet understanding that you have the power to endure it. And you can choose to honor yourself by refusing to let fear dictate the direction of your life. When you feed your mind with courage at dawn, you shape a day where fear cannot dominate your choices. You create a space within yourself where bravery can breathe, stretch, and lead. And as you move through the hours ahead, people will not just see your confidence, they will feel the calm strength of someone who fortified their spirit before fear ever had a chance to take a seat. A disciplined morning mind builds an unshakable life. Discipline is not a punishment, nor is it a burden you carry. It is a quiet promise you make to yourself every day. It is the recognition that your mind deserves structure, intention, and care before the world asks anything of you. So many people wake up and immediately surrender to chaos, letting the noise of the outside world pull them in every direction. But when you begin your day with discipline, you stand firmly at the center of your own life. You choose your thoughts instead of letting them scatter. You guide your energy instead of letting it leak away. You become the builder of your own foundation, brick by brick, breath by breath. Morning discipline does not have to be complicated. It can be as simple as taking a moment to breathe deeply before speaking, or setting an intention before stepping out of bed. It can be choosing gratitude before frustration, choosing focus before distraction, choosing presence before panic. These small choices accumulate, strengthening the mind in ways that often go unnoticed until life tests you. But when challenges arrive, and they always do, you will feel the difference. You will feel the steadiness that comes from a mind trained to remain calm. You will feel the power of a spirit that begins each day by grounding itself. Discipline is not about controlling every outcome. It is about preparing yourself to face them with clarity. The mind, like any muscle, grows through consistency. A disciplined morning routine becomes a ritual of strength. It teaches your mind to return to center no matter how many storms try to push it off balance. It reminds you that you are responsible for the energy you bring into your day. When you train your mind to rise with purpose, you build a life that does not crumble at the first sign of difficulty. You build resilience, patience, and an inner peace that does not depend on circumstance. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like alignment. Of course, there will be mornings when discipline feels far away, days when your body is tired, your heart is heavy, or your mind is restless. On those days, discipline becomes even more meaningful. It becomes the gentle act of choosing to show up for yourself, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. It becomes the quiet voice that says, "Begin again." It is in these moments that your strength deepens. For anyone can be disciplined when life feels easy, but true growth happens when you choose discipline in the moments that challenge you. That is where an unshakable life is formed, not in perfection, but in persistence. A disciplined morning mind does not guarantee a perfect day, but it builds a strong one. It builds a day where your reactions are thoughtful, your choices intentional, and your spirit anchored. It builds a life where challenges cannot easily dismantle you because you have already fortified your inner world before stepping out into the outer one. Each morning is an opportunity to construct that strength again. And when you honor that opportunity, when you nurture that discipline, you become a person who does not merely survive the day, you rise through it with grace, resilience, and unwavering purpose. Choose thoughts that lift you, not chains that bind you. Every morning, your mind opens like a door, and you decide what you allow to walk through it. Thoughts are not passive visitors. They are powerful forces that shape your emotions, your choices, and the rhythm of your entire day. Some thoughts rise like sunlight, warming your spirit and reminding you of your strength. Others wrap around you like chains, tightening with every moment you give them space to grow. When you begin your morning by choosing thoughts that lift you, you free yourself from the prisons you unknowingly built with doubt, fear, and old memories that no longer serve you. It is easy to underestimate the power of a single thought. A thought can brighten your path or dim your courage. It can inspire movement or freeze you in place. It can remind you of your worth or convince you that you have none. This is why mornings matter. They offer you a chance to choose which thoughts you will nurture. In the quiet of dawn, your mind is soft, open, unshaped by the world's demands. If you fill that space with thoughts that lift you, thoughts of gratitude, hope, determination, truth, you set the tone for your entire day. The world may try to add its weight later, but it cannot outweigh the strength of a mind that chose light first. But understand this, lifting thoughts do not always feel like fireworks. Sometimes they are whispers, gentle reminders that you are capable, that you deserve peace, that you can rise above anything that once tried to hold you down. These thoughts do not erase difficulty, but they give you the power to face it. Chains of thought, those heavy beliefs rooted in past pain or fear, feed on your silence. When you do not challenge them, they grow stronger. But when you consciously choose a thought that lifts you, even a small one, the chains loosen. They lose their authority. You reclaim your mental freedom. There will be days when lifting thoughts feel out of reach, days when your mind tries to return to old fears because they are familiar. On those mornings, choosing thoughts that lift you becomes an act of courage. You may not feel strong, but you choose strength anyway. You may not feel hopeful, but you choose hope anyway. And with every deliberate choice, you teach your mind what it deserves to carry and what it must release. This practice becomes a quiet revolution inside you, a shift that slowly transforms how you see yourself and how you walk through the world. As you move through your day, your thoughts become your companions. Choose companions that encourage you, that challenge you to grow, that speak to your spirit instead of your wounds. Choose thoughts that lift your head when life tries to bow it. Choose thoughts that remind you that your story is not defined by what you have survived, but by how you continue to rise. And when you learn to make this choice every morning, your mind becomes a place where light is welcomed, where possibility feels real, and where you no longer fear the chains, because you have learned to rise above them. The world bows to a mind that wakes with intention. When you rise each morning with a clear purpose, you move differently, you breathe differently, you think differently, and the world feels that difference long before you ever speak a word. Intention is not just a plan, it is the energy you bring into your day. It is the quiet declaration that you will not be moved by chaos, that you will not be shaped by circumstance, and that you refuse to simply drift through life without direction. A mind awakened by intention becomes a compass, guiding you through distractions, through doubt, through everything that tries to pull you away from your path. Too many people wake up and immediately fall into the rhythm of reaction. They respond to messages, to noise, to problems that are not even theirs to carry. They step into the day already surrendering their energy to forces outside themselves. But a mind that wakes with intention steps into the day with its own rhythm. It sets its own pace. It chooses what deserves attention and what deserves to be left behind. Intention builds boundaries without resentment and clarity without confusion. It allows you to walk through the world with confidence, not because the day is easy, but because your mind is prepared. When intention leads the way, distractions lose their power. You stop being pulled by every passing worry or every opinion thrown in your direction. You learn to distinguish between what matters and what merely makes noise. You understand that not every battle is yours, not every invitation requires your presence, and not every emotion deserves a reaction. Intention sharpens your focus like a blade. It reminds you that your time is precious, your energy is sacred, and your mind is worthy of direction. This awareness alone changes the quality of your day. It lifts you above the chaos that once consumed you. There will be mornings when your intention feels weak, mornings when tiredness clouds your clarity or uncertainty tries to steal your focus. Those are the mornings when intention becomes even more powerful. On those days, intention is not a loud declaration, it is a quiet grounding. It is placing a hand over your heart and reminding yourself, I choose how I rise, I choose how I move, I choose how I think. Even a small intention, one sentence, one breath, one guiding reminder, can shift the direction of your entire day. It is not the size of the intention that matters, it is the sincerity behind it. A mind that wakes with intention carries a strength that the world cannot easily shake. It becomes a force, not by domination, but by alignment. People sense your focus, they sense your calm. They sense that you are not drifting, you are choosing. Doors seem to open, not because of luck, but because your clarity leads you to them. Challenges seem smaller, not because they disappear, but because your purpose rises taller. And as you move through your day, the world responds, not by bowing in fear or submission, but by recognizing the power of someone who knows exactly who they are and exactly what they are here to create. A mind grounded in intention does not chase the world, it draws the world toward it. Morning reflections create evening victories. When you give yourself the gift of reflection at the start of the day, You are not merely thinking, you are aligning, preparing, and strengthening the very ground you will walk on. Reflection is not about dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. It is about understanding where you stand in this moment. It is a conversation with your own spirit, a chance to ask yourself what you need, what you hope for, and what you refuse to carry any longer. In these early moments, when the world is still quiet, your heart speaks with a clarity that often gets lost once the day begins. And when you listen, truly listen, you carry that clarity with you like a compass, guiding your steps toward victory long before the sun sets. Morning reflection is not a luxury, it is a necessity for a life lived with purpose. It grounds you in truth before distractions try to pull you away from yourself. It reminds you of your values before the world tempts you to forget them. It helps you see what truly matters, so you do not waste your energy on what does not. When you take time to reflect at dawn, you create a blueprint for your day, a quiet, steady plan that keeps your soul aligned even when challenges arise. While others scramble through chaos, you move with intention, because you have already met yourself before meeting the world. These reflections become your anchors. They help you return to center when the day grows heavy. They remind you why you started when you feel discouraged. They push you gently forward when your motivation begins to fade. Through reflection, you begin to understand that every choice you make, every thought you entertain, every action you take is connected. Nothing stands alone. The peace you choose in the morning becomes the confidence you carry in the afternoon and the gratitude you feel at night. This is how reflection shapes victory, not as a sudden achievement, but as a series of small intentional steps guided by a steady mind. Some mornings reflection will feel natural. Other mornings it may feel difficult, especially when your heart is heavy or your thoughts are tangled. But those are the days when reflection becomes most powerful. When you sit with your discomfort instead of running from it, you learn what you need in order to heal. When you acknowledge your fears, you weaken their hold. When you admit your dreams, you give them room to grow. Reflection is not always comfortable, but it is always honest. And honesty builds strength, strength that prepares you to face the day with a courage that does not crumble at the first sign of challenge. By the time evening arrives, you will begin to see how your morning reflections have shaped the outcome of your day. You will notice how your decisions were steadier, how your reactions were calmer, how your focus remained clear. You will feel a sense of quiet victory, not because life was perfect, but because you showed up with awareness and intention. These victories may not always be visible to others, but they will be deeply felt within you. And each evening, as you reflect again, you will realize that your strength, your growth, and your peace were planted in the first gentle thoughts of the morning. This is how morning reflections become evening victories, through presence, through awareness, through choosing to meet yourself before the world demands to meet you. Your mind is a garden, water it early, or weeds will grow for you. Every morning, before the noise of the day begins, you have the chance to plant seeds of strength, hope, and clarity. If you neglect this sacred moment, the weeds of doubt, fear, and distraction creep in, and suddenly your thoughts are tangled and heavy. But when you tend to your mind with intention, you nourish the qualities that will bloom throughout the day. Just as a garden flourishes with sunlight and water, your mind thrives on focus, positivity, and care. What you nurture in the morning grows to shape the entirety of your day, your decisions, and the life you are creating. Morning is the best time to notice which seeds need attention. Perhaps a thought of gratitude is ready to sprout, reminding you of the blessings you have overlooked. Perhaps courage is waiting quietly, asking only for acknowledgement before it grows strong enough to carry you through challenges. These seeds require care. A moment of reflection, a word of encouragement, a breath that centers your spirit. Without attention, they may remain dormant, overshadowed by the weeds that creep in when your mind is left unattended. By giving your mind nourishment early, you ensure that the qualities you desire, peace, resilience, clarity, are the ones that grow tall and sturdy, rather than being choked by the weeds of negativity or doubt. The weeds are always ready to take hold if you allow them. Anxiety, regret, jealousy, and fear can spread quickly when your mind is unguarded. They do not ask permission, they simply appear and root themselves in your thoughts. But the more you tend to your mind in the early hours, the less power these weeds have. When you begin each day with intention, repeating affirmations, seeking clarity, and focusing on growth, you create a mental environment in which weeds cannot thrive. You become the gardener, strong and present, making conscious choices about what you allow to grow within you. Morning is the best time to notice which seeds need attention. Perhaps a thought of gratitude is ready to sprout, reminding you of the blessings you have overlooked. Perhaps courage is waiting quietly, asking only for acknowledgement before it grows strong enough to carry you through challenges. These seeds require care, a moment of reflection, a word of encouragement, a breath that centers your spirit. Without attention, they may remain dormant, overshadowed by the weeds that creep in when your mind is left unattended. By giving your mind nourishment early, you ensure that the qualities you desire, peace, resilience, clarity, are the ones that grow tall and sturdy rather than being choked by the weeds of negativity or doubt.